Hi, everybody. We're going to start in a couple of seconds. Just let everyone in. And please write in the chat where you're from, which school you're from. Okay, so I see Agamim, I see HLA. Anyone else? 2 people from Agamim. Wow. And Kavod from San Diego. That's great. Thanks for joining. Nice. 2 people from Minnesota, 2 people from San Diego. We're all over the map. All right, so I'm gonna start, and as people join, I'll let them in. So welcome everybody. This is the third class of Exploring Israel with Benny Levine, and we are doing it as part of the Hebrew Public National Movement of Charter Schools. And Benny, I'll let you take it.
Thank you. So first of all, it's good to see some of you already been and you're joining again. It's good. So today we're going to have a lot of questions. So I want you to be, if you can turn on your camera, will be great, because we're going to do a lot of games and play different things of getting to know and recognize different things. So anybody who want to guess what's behind me? And a little bit about what while you're guessing, you can or write it or unmute yourself and let me know. But we are today gonna do different things. We're gonna visit the most southern area in Israel, in the Negev desert. We are going to visit a famous market and check out some of the food, or what is Israeli food. If you ever want to eat Israeli food, what is Israeli food? Who make it, how it's created, or what's happening here? So different things like this. We're also going to visit into the Hebrew city of Tel Aviv for a short second. So are you ready to start? Anybody want to guess what's behind me? So I wanted, yes, Victor.
A shark.
A shark, you're completely right. So how big is this shark? Come on, how big?
He's about as long as a human in some inches, and the size of almost a human.
Okay, so this is a human. Look at the size of the shark. It's huge. This shark is actually 9 feet shark. That was scary? This is actually 15 minutes from my home. There is a huge power plant. And in this time in the winter, because the power plant is in order to make power, to make electricity, they burning a lot of different things like natural gas or coal, and it's creating a lot of heat. So they bringing water from the sea. They turn it and cool down the turbines and take the hot water. It don't bring any bad materials or any chemicals into the water, but it releases hot water and the sharks are coming. So this is, I just wanted to share with you. I was really scared. Would you be scared? If you were be scared to swim near sharks like this, please express one of your reactions. I want to see how many of you would be scared if you are going to swim near a shark like this. So I was scared until somebody told me that they actually vegan. They eat some kind of plankton, some small things. So that's what they eat. Um, so today, as we said, we are going to travel a little bit, but not to the moon, as you can see. By the way, this is the smallest spaceship in the world, and it's called Genesis. It is an Israeli spaceship that was sent to the moon, and it started from the project. The whole idea started from Tel Aviv. It's called Space IL. You can see this is a selfie picture that was taken almost at the entrance to the moon, but the spaceship didn't succeed to land because the moon has an atmosphere, and when they enter the atmosphere, that's created a lot of heat that needed to be cooled down, but it didn't, so it was broken. Why I'm telling you that that it was broken, why I would tell you a story, because like this. So first of all, this is the smallest spaceship. This is already cool. It took off from the land and flew all the way and almost arrived to the moon, and that's already an amazing achievement. To get all the way to the space, it's amazing. But in order to bring something so small to the moon, you need to give up some of the protection layers. And one of the things that we are part of what we want to remember, especially in these times when you are visiting Israel virtually, is that we actually always need to remember that the way is not less important than the achievement. And the studying, this way that we are doing, is also very important. So if you wanted to make such a small spaceship, this spaceship didn't have enough protection, but it could be the Guinness record of the smallest spaceship to land on the moon. So they aimed very high up. By the way, they're already building the second version of it. Isn't it cool? So now I want to ask if anyone, raise your hand, knows what are the famous 7 species that the land of Israel was blessed with. So it's 7 species that are, oh, I see Kate. Do you know the answer? Unmute yourself and answer. Yes?
My name's Keith, and I know where Israel comes from.
Okay, where?
They come from space.
From space? So,
Yeah. An Israel spaceship, you can go to the moon or the earth.
yes, so this was the project of this space. But I want to talk about what is grown on Earth. And on Earth, we actually grow really interesting vegetables and fruits. Anybody recognize these fruits? What are those fruits? Anybody? Let me show you this. Who knows what it is? Okay, Victor, I see that you know. Obviously, this is grapes. I want to ask you one question. What's the difference between those grapes and I'm going to show you another type of grapes, and I want you to tell me what's the story of this grape? Okay, so is there any difference between grapes that are grown for wine and grapes that are grown for to eat? Anybody knows? Yes, Henry.
I think it's how they are raised.
Okay, and
grapes are raised on, these grapes seem to be growing on a grape tree, while wine grapes are on grapevines, just growing on big wooden sticks up in the air.
okay, so very interesting. It's great. So vines and trees. So first of all, if I want to show you a little bit how a grapevine look like, they all grow on vines, both of them. But look at this. If you look here, you can see that they grow. Now, in order for it to be easy to pick up, there is a line that goes all along the way. So they cut it from above and they bring it up. You see this part? It goes all the way up, and there is a metal line that goes over here that all the vine grows around it. It's kind of like looping around it. And then look at this grape. So this grape is more white, more juicy. This is a grape to eat. A grape for wine, you can see right here that it's a much smaller. Look at the size compared to the leaf. So that's how we know. By the way, they will be much more sweet, but on the other hand, will be also much bitter at the skin. So, and will have a little pits, something that we don't want many times in grapes that we want to eat. Okay, so now I want to ask you, somebody found something really cool. Let's see if you can recognize it from the air and what it is. So in the old times, this is a place where it's called wine press, but it's actually a juice press. So you see, that's from the air. So this area is where you dance like this, okay? So that's an area where you bring the grapes, you put them right here, and you don't wash your feet for 2 weeks. Okay, not today, but in the ancient time, because then it's have a special fungus that connects to the grape and make it to be kind of like a wine, but it's preserve the grape juice. So that's what's happening here. Then it goes all the way to here, to a little pool. Okay, and the Hebrew word for a grape press is gut. So look here. Then all this juice together with the skin and the pits goes down, and there is a small tube that goes all the way to here. So let's go back to this picture. Look, so first of all, this is a business. How do I know? Because you see there is a small pool right here, and another small pool here, and another small pool here, and another small pool here. So for example, Gabby and Brandon are going to be bringing their grapes, and they're going to put it here. Victor will be putting his grapes here. And then, let's say Keith will be putting her grapes here. And then on your turn, you're gonna actually bring the grapes from here to here. Here you're gonna press them, and from here they're gonna go through tubes that looks like this, a hole in the stone, and go to the last pool that you can see right here. Opa, right here. You see it? And here you will get the grape juice. The only thing you need is now to pick it up. So those are really special fruits, and it's called grape. And this is one of the most important fruits that we're growing right now in Israel. And you know, the winter is started here, and the first rain after such a dry time come up, and anybody want to guess what will be grown here? Look at this green, small little green part. Let me see. I see Victor and Henry, you know. Come on, guess. Guess. Unmute yourself quickly and
It's a
tell me.
grape tree.
Okay, grape trees. No, remember, grape trees need some kind of metal to hold it. So the vines, no. What it will be?
Um,
Anyone?
Corn.
I don't know this one.
So corn is very, very important in United States to grow, right? A lot of crops are corn. What's the most basic food in Israel? Anybody want to know what's the most Israeli food?
Wheat.
Come on.
Rice.
Rice in Israel is the food, the most important food is rice? No. What is it? Who
Wheat.
said wheat?
Me, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon, a point to you. Wheat. We are in the Middle East and we have the most amazing wheat. And from this wheat, we make a special bread. What's the name of this bread?
Pita.
Oh, yes. Who never saw a pita? What is a pita? Can you describe me a pita? Yes. Yes, Victor. Oh, like
Pita,
keep.
pita is like a pancake sandwich.
Okay, so it's actually a bread in the size of a pancake, but it's a bread with a pocket. It's genius. Can you imagine? Bread with a pocket. You can put anything you want inside. And what is in Israel the most famous food that you can put inside?
Hummus.
Okay. Hummus, that's completely right. And look at this pita. So this is the pita, but I wanted to show you because my neighbor, I have a neighbor, she is a woman that she is 96 years old. And she's originally from a country called Yemen. So let me just find Yemen for you on a map and show it to you. Okay, so are you ready for that? Let me share my screen with you. Stop. Here. So let's go and find Yemen, okay? She's from Yemen. She's 96 years old. She's amazing. So this is where Israel is. Okay, let's zoom out for a second and see where is America. Hey, America, you all from LA, from New York, I saw, from different places. This is Israel. So Israel is kind of in a desert. This is Saudi Arabia, and here it is Yemen. Okay. Now, what I want you to do, something cool, is that you can see trees from Yemen. So if I do, for example, like this, trees in Yemen. This is unbelievable. Look at this. Look at these trees. Aren't they cool? Oh, look here. They're super, super cool. So Yemen have a lot of special, different, interesting things, but it's mostly desert. And because it's desert, the most important food is a food that you can preserve for long, and this is wheat. So let me show you what she's doing because she's unbelievable. And when she's doing something like this, it's just amazing. So look, you see the oven she have in her backyard? So right here, it's kind of a huge bucket made out of, inside is a metal, outside it's clay. It's a traditional oven from Yemen. And right here in the middle, she's making fire, okay? Now she's making the dough for the entire night, and then she takes the dough and she's putting it and gluing it to the metal. Now, when I stand there, I will say, what will happen if she like misses, if it's not glued, but if it's glued, and then she need to wait because it's baking from the fire. But if she waits too long, what will happen to the pita? It will dry from the metal, it will dry and will fall into the fire. Bye-bye, no pita. But if she take it too early, what will happen to the pita? It will be raw inside. It will be dough. It's like to get a pizza that was not baked enough. It's not fun. So the same thing with pita. And it's about 15 seconds. And she knows, she's with her hand, paf, she's 96 years old, paf, taking it out. So pita and wheat is the most important in Israel. I mentioned pizza, right? So look at the pizza, okay? Everybody recognize pizza oven, right? So what's special about this oven? That it can heat and get to a very high temperature. But my question to you is, what's the connection of the pizza oven to Israeli food? I want you to write in the chat, because not answer now, write in the chat, what's in your mind, in your opinion, the most famous Israeli food. Okay, if I tell you one dish, come on, what is the most famous? Which one did you heard about? Did you heard about any Israeli food? Maybe not, and that's also okay, because I'm gonna tell you what's the difference. And I want to connect it to this oven that called pizza. But do you recognize what's inside? No, it's not pizza. And that's why I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's happening in the Israeli food. So somebody is writing, let me read. Lauren, falafel, pita, hummus. So I have to say that you probably right. Falafel is the most famous Israeli food. But is it Israeli? So pita is bread that's coming from all over. Pita is from Yemen. Pita is from Saudi Arabia. Pita is from Egypt. Pita is from everywhere. It's just the area of the desert. It's the most common bread in the area that they have a pocket. It's cool. Falafel balls are made from chickpeas. And they are from a country called Jordan. But if you go to Jordan and you order a falafel, you're gonna get a plate. And on the plate, you're gonna get 10. If somebody gives you 8, you give the plate back because they try to cheat you. 10 falafel balls. And that's how you eat them. But you probably heard about the pita with the falafel and the salads and the hummus and the different sauces. That's a pita falafel sandwich. And this is Israeli. So it's a mix. So look what they are doing. This is from Iraq. Did you heard about Iraq? Iraq is a country also in the Middle East, and they making shish barak in a pizza oven. And the shish barak is a really cool pastry. Look at this pastry. Here. That's what's coming out. It's kind of a piece of bread that's stuffed with meat. What is the meat? The meat is what left over from Saturday. Saturday is the holiday in Israel, and that's what left over. And they put it inside, and it's kind of a boat. I have to say, it's the most tasty boat that I know. And now I want to ask anyone can recognize this. This is also very, very, very famous. What is this? Who can recognize? It's just
Honey.
who said honey? Wait,
Brandon again.
Brandon. Okay, you're good, but Brandon, what kind of honey it is?
Wait, there are multiple types of honey?
So I have to say that's not honey. That's called silan. Do you know what silan? Silan is a date honey. Okay? Silan. Silan, it's coming from the dates. So
Where is
honey,
Silan from?
it's from bees. It's very, very similar to honey, but it's actually coming from the juice of the dates. And those dates are grown in an area in the desert. And the story of those dates is unbelievable. The story of those dates starting in a country called Iran. And the country called Iran is not really a great, at least now, not a great friend of Israel. And when Israel wanted to bring the dates to Israel because they died out, what they needed to do is to make a secret plan. They bought 500 trees in Iran with their friend in Greece, and they put it on a boat, and they shipped it from Iran to Greece. In the middle of the sea, another boat came from Israel with 500 trees of olives, and they put it on this ship and took the other 500 trees of dates to Israel. This way, the Greek people get what they needed, is that their olive trees, and the Israelis brought those dates. Those dates are amazing, and they are creating a great date honey called Silan. I recommend for everyone that loves something sweet, because it's not honey, it's not from bees, to try it. Go to the supermarket and look for a Silan. It's super good, especially what I love to do is I put some granola or cornflakes, I put some yogurt on top, and on top, Silan. Oh, you will love it. But
Granola and salon comes from bees. They can make honey.
so, first of all, who said that? Team?
Me?
Ah, Keith, you're right. Honey comes from bees. Silan is a honey from a tree called date tree, date palm tree. And now I want to show you something really, really cool. Something that it just was found, and it was not. Now we're going to fly to an area that is really special, and I'm going to take you to the top of this mountain. This mountain, it's called Herodian. It's named after a king. This king's name was Herod. But I want to show you something, because just last week I was there, and when I went inside, there were people called archaeologists. It's people that digging down and looking for different ancient things, like the wine press that I just showed you. So I want to show you, and you will be the first ones, the Hebrew public charter schools, kids that here on this tour, you're going to be the first one to see what I'm going to show you, because nobody in the world didn't see it yet, because it's just being digged and prepared for visitors to visit. So I hope you're going to enjoy it. So look, this mountain was an important mountain where one king decided that he wanted to build a palace. And his palace, look, now if you look here, you can see the palace was really big, and it stood on top of the mountain. The mountain is completely circle, so it was a stronghold. But this King Herod, he built a lot of really cool places in Israel. Like he built a city called Caesarea, and he built Masada, maybe you heard about it. And he even built the holiest place for the Jewish people today in Jerusalem, called the Western Wall. And it was wall from his temple. And he decided that he wanted to be buried here. So he wanted to be buried on this mountain. And that's where he was buried. But he made decoration, and this is what you're going to see for the first time. what we found when the archaeologist was digging, they found that all the walls in the palace were covered with those beautiful, beautiful frescoes, paintings. But how old do you think, and you can write me in the chat, how old do you think these paintings are? Come on, look at this. And somebody said 1003. That's a great number, Victor. 5,000, Lauren is writing. Oh, 100,000. By the way, does anybody have something that is painted and been outside in the rain? And what happening to it? Is the paint holding? I guess no. So this is a way to paint the wall when the wall is still wet. So when you make the wall, it's still wet with the concrete or with the plaster, and then you paint it on a wet plaster, and that's called frescoes. And I want you to see how beautiful it look like. Look at this. Oh, my computer is stuck. This is great. Oh. Gino?
Yes, I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave and come back.
You're okay. You're back. You're back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
So I'm almost done. I wanted to show you. Let's see if I have my background. Yes, no, it's still stuck. I'm gonna leave and come back in 20 seconds.
Okay. Anyone here ever visited in Israel? If you visited, please write in the chat. All right, Michael, good. And Orly, you should definitely go, and team.
Okay. So this is great. So look, this is the fresco. I want to show you how hard they are working to preserve it so we can see it. So that's how it's looked like when it was found. But then they want to give it a real feel of something natural. So if there is some missing part, they will come and paint it in a way that is completely different from the original technique. So when you come, you can see it, that it's still very, very beautiful, but you can see that it was painted in a completely different way. So now I'm actually in a very, very cool area in the desert, and I wanted to show you this beautiful area before we're going to continue. And this area is this. Here you go. Opa. So this is from today. So I'm sitting in the desert near a city called Eilat, in a park that is half a crater. It's called the Timna Park. Anybody knows what's a crater? Come on, Victor, answer me.
A big hole in the ground.
Somebody said a big hole in the
Craters
ground.
are not.
Yes, I said that.
Okay.
Craters are like holes in the ground, but it's like the moon has craters, but not from asteroids or anything. So the craters are like when an asteroid hits down and makes the edges of the circle like go get bigger, and the rest is like a hole.
So you're saying that a crater is basically something big hitting the ground and creating a hole. So you're completely right. That's a crater.
Or an explosion.
One type of a crater. The second type of a crater that can be is an erosional crater. Erosional is when erosion happening, when something taking out the mountain and making, instead of the mountain, making on top of the mountain a hole, a crater. How does that happening? Look, for example, on the picture behind me. This is an arch. So this is a stone. This stone made out of sand. Okay, look at this. This is a sandstone. So if this is a sandstone, how something like this can happen? Henry?
Wind, lots of wind and other things that would erode the ground and make these circles, like maybe the little bit of rain they get keeps freezing and breaking it.
Oh, I love that idea. Tim wrote also, thank you, Henry. Tim also wrote that another crater, and he is right, is from eruption of a volcano crater. It's exploding and falling inside. That's also can be. You're right, Henry. Henry is saying that in order to create an arch like this, look how big it is, but you can see small holes as well. That's a beginning of a nice arch maybe in the future. So a few things can happen. Water can go inside, freeze. When it freezes, it's becoming bigger and making damage to the walls. That's one thing. But anybody heard about sandpaper? What do you do with sandpaper?
Rub it on objects to make them smoother.
You're smoothing things up. Now try to imagine that all of this is sand, so it's falling down. Now blow the wind. In the desert, the wind is super strong. What will happen when the sand is flying? It's like somebody is doing like this with a sandpaper. And here he's doing it stronger and stronger and stronger and makes a small hole like this. A small hole. But then more time and more time and more time, and it's become very big hole. And slowly, slowly, it's developing into an unbelievable arches and different formations, and it's all erosion. So the Timna Park, like you can see right here, is built out of sandstone. And once in a while, you can see that this sand, it's not only yellow or red, but once in a while, you'll have another color of stone. Anybody knows what makes the different colors? Why stones have different colors? Yes, Victor?
They have different colors because of the different climates or treatments that happen to it.
Okay.
Like if it gets too hot, like if a stone is too near a volcano, it'll get red because the potential heat of the volcano could damage the stone and make it like red. Brown
Perfect.
stones are like deserts.
So if you are, heat can change the color. It's like when you put, anything in the oven. It's become crusty, it will become brown and become dark, depends how hot it is. And that's exactly, for example, something that can happen here. Another thing is depends on the different minerals that are inside. For example, what happening for metal with water? Yes?
We get a rust effect.
Rust effect. What color is rust?
Brown, kind of bronzish. I have a bit of metal.
Brownish orange.
Metal.
Brown, orange, bronzish, perfect. So when we start to see like orange color of stone, for example, Yellowstone Park in America is made with sandstone that have a lot of iron inside. So that's really, really cool. And for my last question, before we're gonna go and say goodbye, I want to ask you, how many years passed between this way of transportation to this way of transportation? What do you think? This way, what is this? This is a horse. What's this? One, two, three, four, five. What do you think?
I think that's a train.
It's a train, yes. So between a horse and a train, how many years passed?
Victor is saying 101.
101. That's pretty good guess. Who knows? Yeah, 10 years. In this case, this picture and this picture are pretty much from the same time. People were still riding horses when this picture was taking place. This is in the same time. Why? Because this train was so slow that they didn't even build a toilet on this train. You know why? Because if you needed to go to the toilet, you will get off the first car, go to the toilet, wherever it is, and come back in the last one and jump on. That's how slow it was. But of course, today there are new trains. This is the same train, by the way. This is the train that was going from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And this is the new train that today going very fast and have 2 floors, right? Let's try another game. How many years you think from this picture, okay, from this picture to this picture? By the way, this building is still standing, and it's still standing right here. So how many years? Come on. What do you think from this picture that was sand to this picture?
So we have 1360 from Gabby and Brendan, 73. Over
Oh, I love it. Okay.
562.
73, 123, 770. So I think the closest answers are 123 from Orly Moses. Good job. This is a building from the beginning of Tel Aviv in 1909. And this is a building that was taken in almost 110 years later. So that's pretty much the closest answer we have. So look how fast things are moving, right? From one place to another really, really quickly. And this is something that is really, really amazing. And you always need to remember that things are moving very, very fast. And very soon, hopefully, instead of coming and visiting Israel virtually on Zoom, I can really take you to Israel in a real world and in Israel. So one question, last one. This is what I'm finishing with, right? We have less than a minute. So I want you to tell me if this is a real picture or it's a fake picture.
That would be real because it's taken above the clouds. Because no one can exactly simulate the clouds at the exact same time the clouds are passing by.
And what is this?
I think that's
a
frog.
What's this?
That's frog.
A shoe.
Frog.
That's a shoe. So is that a real picture or not a real picture?
Real.
You're right. That's a real picture. It's a shoe. And it was taken from a paraglider. So isn't it cool?
So yes, it is a real picture.
It is. You're completely right.
But if the shoe wasn't there, it'd be fake.
The what?
It would be if there wasn't a shoe there, it would be fake.
Why?
Because no one can simulate the shoe that the person taking the thing is wearing. It's too hard.
It's too warm
Hard.
to take a picture of your shoe?
No, to simulate your shoe above the clouds.
When you say simulate, so you mean it's not a real, he's not
Oh,
really
it is a
there.
real picture, but if the shoe wasn't there.
The shoe is not there, you're saying. It's
It
very
is.
interesting. You think the shoe is there or not there? Who thinks the shoe is there?
there.
No, in real life, in reality. Do you think it's there?
Yes.
It is there.
I
Because
think I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that's too hard to program the shoe with technical things and take a photo of it and make it look like that. He's saying that's too hard for people to do it.
Okay, love that interpretation. That's perfect. So anyway, what I want to tell you that if I would see this shoe in the air, I would say that's probably not a real shoe. But I know it because I was wearing it. And I'm flying something called paraglider. And when I fly a paraglider, I sit above the sky sometimes, above the cloud. This was a day, and you can see the Mediterranean Sea right here between the clouds. And it's really cool. So I'm wishing you to fly very, very high. And I'm here to take any questions you have about Israel before we're finishing.
All right. Benny, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining us. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Shalom, shalom.
Wait, Vector has a question.
Okay.
My question is, can you show us a picture? Can you show us a picture about the paraglider? I know how a glider looks like, but not a paraglider.
You're the best. I'm doing it right now. Let's see if I can find one straight away from here. And if not, or yes.
Then bye-bye.
No, I don't find that. But look it up, paraglider.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Shalom, shalom.
Bye. Thank you, Benny.
Thank you.
Shalom, toda.
Bye.
Toda.
Bye.